would have thought that just me developing a writing habit, just a habit of writing something down for half an hour a day would lead me in a position where I have my own place, I have my own business, I have everything that I need, really. And I'm not boasting, but I'm just saying you really need to deep it. You need to be thinking to yourself, a writing habit. But when is the last time I ever wrote something? When is the last time you ever created something? That is the message. That is the sentiment from which it proceeds in this video, gentlemen. But this video is not for the unambitious. This video is not for those who just want to be entertained in this present moment. So if you are wanting to be entertained, please take your attention elsewhere. I'm speaking to the ambitious. I'm speaking to the high value. I'm speaking to the men who really want to change their lives in the next 6 to 9 months now. Now, shameless plug here. If you do want to learn a little bit more about this, I'm hosting a free webinar which happens on the 2nd of September, and that's going live at 5 p.m. British Standard Time, or 9 a.m. PST, or 12 p.m. EST. And there's a free link, completely free for you to join wherever you are in the world. That I'll link in the video description below. But I wanted to get into the top 10 lessons that you need to know before you even join this webinar. You need to know these things. If I had known these things, I would probably be at 1 million subs right now on Twitter. I'm approaching 400K right now. But these are the real gems that, God, I wish I'd known these before, but you get to know these right now. Let's start off with number 1, gentlemen. Personal brands are more trustworthy than anonymous brands. What do I mean by that? Well, I mean by that, nobody wants to buy from somebody who they don't know. They don't know them. They haven't built rapport. They haven't built trust with that individual. Now, if you're planning on monetizing your business in the future, I think you should really bear that in mind. Now, I get the attractiveness of the anonymity to Twitter, or X as it's now called, but I would just ask you to pause and think about, if you have aspirations to monetize it, you can do so far quicker and with far more effectiveness if you put your face out there. People trust people. People don't trust a faceless brand. Now, I know my logo, my icon is faceless, but I'm transparent for the world to see, talking about some very interesting and divisive subjects as well. So I open my heart to you all, and you can all stab me if you want. And I'm willing to be that vulnerable for you. And I think that has been one of the things that I've had an advantage with. I played my cards right in that respect. I maybe wish I'd try something different on Twitter, but this is what YouTube's for. I'm definitely gonna do a little bit more crossover in the future by putting my videos on X or Twitter, because they're starting to monetize that now, and I would be foolish not to capitalize off the attention on X. Going into number 2, have a service or product in mind before you start to maximize your profit. If profit is your goal, if money is your goal, if you like money, if you want to be wealthy, you should have, before you create your brand, that idea in mind. What am I going to sell? Who am I going to sell to? Am I going to sell to other businesses, or am I going to sell to the public? What should I sell? Do I want to sell books? What topic of books should I sell? Do I want to sell courses? Do I want to sell coaching? All of these things you have to have in mind prior to you starting your business, because you'll get there 10 times quicker. Unfortunately, I didn't know what I wanted to sell. I still don't in some ways, but I've nestled myself in coaching, because I've been a coach for probably over 10 years now, not just in this field of work, but also in personal training, in lecturing and teaching. I like it. I like teaching. I love the idea of imbuing knowledge on other people, and that's what I monetize. I am a coach. But the point in mind is, you should really be thinking about what problem can I solve fundamentally with my brand. I've had clients in the past who want to help men become better fathers. So the target audience are fathers, and they find within that target audience there's a problem with drinking, there's a problem with smoking, there's all sorts of problems, and they're finding a way to coach these men to a better lifestyle. Typically, it's 3 areas we look at that we want to capitalize on, which is more sex or relationships, more money, and also more time. If you can give people back more of those 3, People will part with their money. They will. Let's go on to number 3, gentlemen. Proudly exclude people if you want to grow. Sounds counterproductive, I know. What on earth do you mean exclude people? Meaning, I'm very specific with the kind of people that I want to speak to you on this channel. And it ain't women, in case you noticed. Not that I don't think I can give any value to women, but that's not my target audience. I made a horrific mistake when I first started the first business I made called Holistic Health. Holistic, all-inclusive health. It didn't speak to anybody's identity. That was the problem. And as a business, as a brand, you need to speak to somebody's identity. Maybe you want to speak to fathers. Maybe you just want to speak to men. Maybe you want to speak to business owners. Maybe you want to speak to entrepreneurs. Maybe you do want to speak to women. They hold a large percentage of the consumer-based decision, so it'd be a good market to go after. Point I'm trying to make is don't ever try to appeal to everyone in your brand. You can't help everyone. And it's actually counterproductive. You actually grow far quicker when you appeal to people's identity, because people see themselves in your brand and they go, this is for me. If my brand is about men and you're a man, you go, this is for me. Masculinity. I am a masculine man. This is for me. Appeal to people's identities and you will grow very, very quickly indeed. Number 4, it's easier to develop a writing habit, otherwise you'll fall off. So one of the big barriers that people have when they're creating content is they fail to recognize that the source of content creation becomes beholden to them in a aforementioned habit, which is you should become a writer. Don't become somebody who has a business or a brand. Become a writer. Get brand, get business, get money out of your head. Become a writer. Become somebody who's good at creating their own ideas through, if it's texting on the keyboard or if it's writing on analog. Why do I say this? Because it is one of the key pillars, key premises, key sources, key roots of all the content you're creating, which is embedded in some kind of writing habit. You're creating, you're not consuming here. I write every single day. It's part of my identity. It's who I am. That's the way you want to think is you have to change your identity from a consumer to a creator. And one of the ways you can do that is have a creative habit. Maybe it's not writing, right? Maybe you have aspirations to do YouTube. If you do, you should be making a video every single motherfucking day. Every single day. Apologies for the profanity here. YouTube's going to demonetize me again. But I hope I'm impressing upon you the shift in the identity as opposed to the actions you need to do every day. Don't think about, I need to do this. Don't think about it from a point of obligation, rather from a point of opportunity. You get to do this as opposed to you have to do this. Number 5, for God's sake, use a scheduler. It will save your life. This is something that I found out too late to my detriment. I hope you guys don't think that I'm every 2 hours picking up my phone and posting something on Twitter or YouTube. I've done all my week's work last week. It's all done. As you're watching this video, I'm on the beach right now, getting a suntan and reading a book, hopefully, to bring you another video later on. Point is, plan ahead. Same thing with your tweets. Twitter has, or X has, an inbuilt scheduler that you can use for free. 6, write and edit in 2 different sessions. Key understanding. Writing and editing are 2 different processes. Writing is just you getting the ideas out on paper. Don't worry about structuring them or using synonyms or making them look pretty. That's later. That's where you put the bells and whistles on in a later session. So typically the way I create content or write content is I will have a writing session in the morning where I just vomit my ideas out onto paper. And then in the evening, I'll come back and I'll edit them. I'll clean them up. I'll go, this was a good idea. It just needs a little bit of this, bit of that, change it here, edit it there. And this way you really become an effective creator. So content creators write and edit in 2 different sessions. Don't try to do them at once. They require 2 different skill sets. Number 7, you need a swipe file. Everybody has those bad days. I feel like that's a song. Everybody has those bad days. Probably a feminist leftist agenda. Anyway, I don't pull content out of my bottom. I have a library of inspiration that I use to my advantage whenever I have the days where I'm uninspired. So I use Notion. If you don't use Notion, use Notion. It's like a second brain to me. Remember, your brain is not for not for storing ideas. It's only for having ideas. So you need a place to store your ideas. It could be Notion. It could be Google Docs. It could be Notes, Apple Notes, whatever the case may be. Is I implore you to create a library of content that you find inspiration in. I find inspiration in YouTube videos, in emails, in lectures, in blogs, in tweets, in Reddit, in Quora, on Kindle, in books, of course. And I put all of them in one place, and I just look through, get inspired, and then I add my version, I add my twist, I add my insight, I add my color. That is all there really is to do if you're going to be an effective content creator. Number 8, giving value really means solving a problem, giving new perspectives, or practical advice. So giving value is becoming a little bit of a cliche or a throwaway word, I guess you can call it. And nobody really understands what it means. So this is what it means, is you've made somebody's life better than where they were before they've been exposed to your content. And you do this by giving more information, giving a practical piece of advice, getting the reader or the consumer to see their problem from a new perspective, and changing fundamentally the way that they live their lives. That is value in essence. If you can do that, then people will follow you. Number 9, we go to nobody follows you for who you are, they follow you for what you give. So this is kind of on the back of 8, but the nuances comparatively to 8 is don't be so self-conceited. People don't really care about Joseph. I mean, you might care about me, I don't know, but people more care about the allure and the brand of masculine theory because it speaks more to an idea. I'm thinking about Batman Begins. As an idea, you can be indestructible, you can be incorruptible. But as a man, you can be flawed, you can be killed, you can be destroyed. What I'm trying to say is your value in time as a person will grow in relation to your brand and in your message. But when you're starting, people don't really care about you. So think more about what you're giving as opposed to, adorning your ego in some kind of gratification. You're not there yet. Maybe in the future, but pride can be a silent killer. And finally, number 10, consistency over everything else. And this comes back to having a habit. Have a habit of writing. Have a habit of recording videos. If you show up every single day, you'll get where you want to go. Guys, I'm going... And I know this might sound arrogant or delusional, but I call it brazen impudence. I am going to get to a point where masculine theory is 100,000 subscribers, 500,000 subscribers, 1 million subscribers. In my mind, it's already happened because I'm going to keep doing this every single day because I love it. I've made a habit of it. And it might take me a year, it might take me 5 years, it might take me 10 years, but I promise you I'll get there. I promise you I will. And I hope this is motivation for you doing the same. Gentlemen, please remember that webinar starts on September the 2nd, 5 p.m. British Summer Time, 9 a.m. PST, 12 p.m. EST. And I would love to see you live in person where you can, ask me messages and ask, pertinent questions on how to create your brand. But take this free bit of game right now, and I'll see you on Saturday. Speak soon.